Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I have a brand new bike sitting in front of me, and honestly, it's a bright one at that. When they asked me what color I wanted, I said, that happens more times than you would believe me. I don't understand why this happens every time I shoot a video. But anyways, back to what I was saying. So when the company asked me like what color I wanted, I was like, oh, black and yellow, black and yellow. But they do have a blue color on the website, and blue is my favorite color, and it looks very nice. It's like a teal blue or however you want to call it. But then they also have a subtle looking gray color as well if you're not looking to stand out from the crowd. So there are different options just in case you don't like this yellow. Don't click out of the video just because you're like, oh, I don't like the look of this bike. So this is the E26 model. This is a brand new model coming out at the end of 2023. And the cool thing about it is 26-inch tires. They're 4 inches wide, so they're huge fat tires. They have huge knobs on them, so you can go off-road and do whatever you want. Nice moped style headlight. I'm actually very impressed with this. We will do a separate video taking it to work at night, and we'll see how it is when I take it to the grocery store and whatnot. You do have suspension in the front. Now the website says this is a full suspension bike, and you're gonna notice there is no suspension on the back. Well, the suspension is actually in the seat post. So the suspension is right here. And what that means, real quick, before we get into all the other specs, I have to sit on the bike and show you because this is as low as the seat will go because the suspension seat post. So obviously I'm moving up and down. It feels very comfortable. It's not sticking or anything like that, but look at where my feet are at. I'm 5'9", 5'10", and I'm on my tippy toe. So this is not gonna be a bike for short people. This is gonna be a bike more comfortably for people around my height and up. So just keep that in mind. So now that you guys know that, let's kind of get into the specs of this bike, and let's kind of start off in the front. So fenders up front underneath that nice headlight, suspension forks right here. You have a preload on this side and you have a lockout on the right hand side. 180 millimeter rotors with hydraulic brakes. Yes, at this price point of $1,200, you do get hydraulic brakes. That's a very nice touch to this bike. Half twist throttle, so depending on how you feel about that, I don't mind. I think that's kind of nice. 7-speed Shimano right here. Nice, decent display right here. Standard buttons on this side. You do have a brake light back here as well. And the cool thing they added on here was a nice rack. Even though you might not use it, it is removable. You could just take it off with 4 bolts. They're Allen's. But this thing does hold up to 55 pounds, so if you need to go to the grocery store and load up some stuff, you have that option. Some other stuff you have on here, you have some bolt holes right here that you can put a water bottle on. You also have bolt holes right here that you can put another water bottle on, or you can do like some accessory that you want to fit on this bike. You do have a removable battery right here. It's a 16 amp hour battery, 48 volt system. You do have a power indicator right here that will show you the state of charge just in case you are charging it in your house. It's not going to tell you, there is no numbers on this thing, so the little dots right here are going to tell you what's going on. And real quick, I'll read some of the specs. It's a 768 watt hour battery, 25 amps max of a discharge, and the current charge is 3 amps max. And what makes this nice that the battery is removable is just in case you got to carry this bike up a flight of stairs, or maybe you got to put it on your bike rack and you're limited on the weight capacity. This bike isn't very heavy, by the way. If you do remove the battery, you're looking at probably in the upper 60-pound range, but with the battery installed, this bike weighs 76 pounds and it holds up to someone that's 330 pounds. Now, the most important thing that you guys probably want to know about is the rear motor. So this is a peak of 1,000 watts, but it is a 750 watt motor. It has about 70 to 75 Newton meters of torque, and it should propel this bike up to 28 miles per hour max. Now that you guys know all that, let's kind of walk around this bike really quick before we take it out for a spin. So this is how the bike is going to look when you're sitting on it for the first time. These are some like cheap rubber grips. I'm not gonna lie, these aren't very comfortable. Maybe you guys will like these, but I'm not a huge fan of those. Hydraulic brakes, obviously very comfortable. They feel very good. Here's your standard button layout right here. So this is to go up in pedal assist, and this is to go down in pedal assist. And to turn it on, you hold that button right at the bottom. It does some cool little animations, goes through all the settings to make sure there's no errors or anything like that. And then pretty much just to go up, you go up to 5, you go up all the way down to 0, so you won't have any type of throttle and you won't have any type of pedal assist whatsoever. So you just want to pedal this bike like a normal bike, you can do that. If you want to turn the headlight on, it's the button on this side. So all you do is tap it, you don't have to hold it, and it comes on. It's pretty nice. And then this button right here, if you go to the display, if I hit that, it will go from trip to odometer to max speed to your average speed and then back to trip. Here is a look of the front of the bike with the cable management. not too bad whatsoever. You do have some bolt holes up here on the frame, so you guys can probably mount some stuff up there. You might want to check the website, see if they have any accessories, or maybe you have your own accessories that you can add on there. Here's a closer look of the suspension seat post right there. And you do have a quick disconnect right behind this logo right there. So if you do get a flat, very easy to remove the rear wheel. And one last thing on this bike, this is where you charge it. If you do decide to leave the battery in the bike, you can charge it that way too. And it's a waterproof connector, so you could basically just push this in and you won't have to worry about it getting damaged at all from getting splashed by water or mud or nothing. Now that we spent all that time in the garage going over everything on this bike, you guys should have a very, very good idea if this bike might be worth it or not for you, but still, you want to stick around to the end of the video until I give you my final thoughts. So right now, let's actually go do the riding test with the GoPro and see how it is. Almost forgot to zip tie this brake light to the bike. Make sure you do that, because if you don't, this cable is going to come loose and get caught with the spokes or the tire and just rip off. Because when you do put this rear rack on, the brake light is just kind of zip tied, I think, up here. So just make sure you zip tie that and then cut all these. And it does come with zip ties, so you don't need your own. You don't got to buy any, but just make sure you do this. All right, we switched over to the GoPro. This is my very first ride on this bike, even though when I got it, it said it had 1 point something miles on it, and now we're at 2.4, but I never actually rode the bike. So that's kind of odd, but we're not going 28 miles per hour, so I'm assuming there's something in the settings. This is my top speed right now, right out of the box. So I feel like I need to pull over really quick and see if I can figure this out so we're not limited to 24. I want to go faster than that. All right, so let's see if I can figure this out. So most bikes, you hold the plus and minus button like this, you get into the P settings, you hit the up arrow, let's see. So that's voltage, P3 is 0 to 5. I think it's your pedal assist. So you can change your pedal assist. I think if you want to have 0 to 9, you could have different options on pedal assist. I leave it at 1 through 5, that's all I need. They have it set to 29 inches on the accuracy of the speed, so hopefully that you can adjust that if you see that your display's off, which I haven't found out if it is or not. I think maybe it is 1 mile per hour off, but let's go to P6. Okay, so I'm in that setting. I'm maxed out, so I am at 63 kilometers per hour. That's the max that it will go. Let me see if this is one of the bikes that you need to pedal to get up to your max speed. So right now I am pedaling. Let's see if we can get up to 28 miles an hour. Oh, there we go. Okay, so that makes sense. So throttle only, you go up to like 23 or 24, but you're kind of ghost pedaling. But hey, look, we're doing 28 miles an hour. This says 29, so it's just off 1 mile per hour. So here's one fun fact about the bike is that I am pedaling right now, but I'm also using the throttle, and it's limiting us to 23 miles per hour. So if I were to let off the throttle and keep pedaling, check this out, then the bike unlocks and it will bring us up to 28 to 29-ish miles per hour. But I want to say right at about, it feels like 25 miles per hour, 26 maybe is when you're ghost pedaling, so I'm not a big fan of that. Oh, there we go, there's 29. So now it like matches up back and forth, but not too bad. Oh, now 30 on here. Let's see if we hit 30 on there. Oh, dang, this bike's going faster than they said on their website. So 30 miles an hour, top speed, that's pretty damn good, especially for being $1,200. And again, make sure you check if I have any links or discount codes, because it's definitely going to help you guys save some money on this bike. Woo! This bike is actually pretty comfortable. I don't know why I'm pedaling using the throttle at the same time. I'm sure there's a setting that you can go in there and change, but I don't want to tweak anything from how the bike comes, because I want to give you guys this review based on how this bike gets shipped out. I'm sure you can do whatever you want with this bike, change your wheel diameter speed to match, you know, whatever you want to do, but I'm just going to review the bike as is. All right, so I'm in my designated spot where I do the speed test. We're going to use throttle only right here. I have to start a little bit after because there's a bunch of people behind me, but here we go. So 1, 2, 3. You get a little bit of vibration from like 3 to 5 miles per hour, but other than that, it's nice and smooth. Gets up to speed decently quick. Not the fastest bike out there, and then we're pretty much already topped out. I felt the motor kind of stop already, so not too bad. All right, so now let's try out the gears. I dropped down to gear number 1, and we're gonna go through them as we pedal. We're not gonna use a throttle whatsoever. Now we should hit our top speed, and let's just see how it is. So 1, 2, 3. All right, slow start though. Took a while for the pedals to engage, even at the lowest thing. And I gotta start shifting already. 4 feels pretty good around 16 miles an hour. 5 feels good around 18, 19. 6 feels good right now, and then 6 to 7 doesn't really feel like too much of a change. But yeah, I would say 25-ish miles per hour is when you feel like you're ghost pedaling. So it's not the best, you know, for pedaling, but it's not the worst that I felt. It's all right. It's not too bad. You can turn too while pedaling. The pedals aren't that close to the ground, so you don't have to worry about the pedals hitting. So that's really nice. And what's up with all this trash? Did someone just move houses and just say like, screw it? I was gonna say the F word, but I'll get demonetized. I normally come here because this is a nice way of looking at the bike, but just don't look at the trash, all right? Let's just look at the bike. This bike is definitely bright. I can see a lot of bees flocking to this bike because of the color of it. No, it looks beautiful though. Actually, like the black and yellow scheme, to me is like really nice. I think it was better than the blue. But again, like I said, there's different colors on their website. You know, you pick and choose what you want, but so far, not a bad bike. Honestly, even before getting to the end of this video, I would definitely think about recommending this bike so far, my impressions. But I haven't seen how it goes up this hill, and I haven't seen how it is on the dirt yet. So let's check that out right now. So let's see how it is to get up here, and we're in pedal assist 5, and we're gonna start right at the bottom. So here we go, 1, 2, 3. See how it goes. It's going. It's going. Is it gonna? Oh, it cut out. It cut out right at the very top. I'm literally like on the top, and it just cut out. I was really praying for it to make it up. It just didn't. So if we hit it a little faster, it'll go up there a lot more easier. Yeah, if you just get a little bit of speed, you can make it up some hills, but it's definitely not the best bike for hills. But keep in mind, we're still working at a price point of $1,200. I can't stress that enough. I know there's still gonna be people out there that say it's too expensive, but to me, this is actually on the lower affordable side, unless you get like a Jetson e-bike from Costco or Walmart. That's like $500 or $600. But to me, those are very cheap bikes with not many specs. Okay, so far, let me get up to speed. Let me go a little faster. Surprisingly, it's pretty nice. I'm not gonna lie. I feel a lot of vibration like in my feet for the pedals, but other than that, my butt feels comfortable. The seat is nice. I can feel the seat moving. I feel like my actual body going up and down out of the seat, but I'm not flying off the seat. We're not hitting anything big right now. It's kind of flat, but there are some little holes here and there, but nothing major. It's actually not bad. Probably give it like a 7.5 out of 10. All right, here comes the turning test. Woo! Yeah, these are big tires, so it takes a little bit to get used to, but no, it's pretty much like any other bike. If you had some really skinny tires, you're used to bikes that have like 2 inches wide of a tire, then this is definitely gonna feel a lot more resistant and a little bit more effort to go into the turn. But don't sit like this, lean your body back on the seat, and then go into the turn and kind of put your body weight a little bit into it. You're not gonna have a problem with this bike. It feels pretty comfortable, and it feels like it's definitely sticking to the road with these knobbies that they have on here. Let's see how it is transitioning from the curb to the street. Woo! Definitely came out of my seat. I'm going pretty quick. I was trying to do that pretty fast. I did barely come out of my seat, maybe like this much. Still, it was actually very comfortable. It wasn't jarring at all. I know they say it's full suspension, but I kind of disagree. It's not really full suspension, but it's working pretty good, I'll say that. So anyway, brake test right here. 28 miles an hour, 1, 2, 3. Woo! So, ow, the rear rack. Oh, be careful stepping on this bike really quick. So if you guys do have problems with this rear rack getting in the way because you do have to move your foot all the way over, they do make a step-through version of this. So this bar is not here, and you just have this tube down here. So just in case you don't like that, which step-through would have came in handy right there because I definitely hit my knee. But anyways, brake test, absolutely fantastic. Bikes that stop behind this line right here are obviously like the best bikes ever. And then from here to this other line, like that you see right there, those are intermediate bikes. And then the line right after that are probably like the worst of the bikes. So this stopped really good. Honestly, that's probably about, I would say 3.5 bikes away. That is not that far. And if I were to actually walk that way, so let me start at the back. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. This is in the middle of it. I wasn't putting my feet like this, but I was just walking like normal. So about like 13 steps of actual walking away from the bike. Some really good brakes on this thing, and they feel fantastic in the hands. Less maintenance with hydraulic brakes. I really think this is a winner. And if you do need to adjust them whatsoever, there is a little Allen right in here. You just put that in there and it will pull it out a little bit more or push it in, depending on how you feel about that. And you could also move them however you want to. So if you don't want them super high, you can put them super low. If you want them very high, like up here, you can have them up here too, but I kind of like where they're at right now. Now, the next thing I like to try out is the throttle response and the pedal response. So let's see how the pedal response is. It's not too bad. It's actually gradual getting up to speed. It's not jarring or torquey or anything like that. It's just nice and gradual. So here we go, 1, 2, 3. Takes a while though, but you see how gradual it is? Let me show you guys the display right here. We'll try to get down to 10 miles an hour roughly, and watch, check this out. I'll start pedaling, 1, 2, 3. Watch how gradual it gets up to speed. And then it really starts taking off, like it really does. But I want to say, I feel like the pedals have a delay of, that feels like almost 2 seconds. So here we go, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, almost a full 2 seconds of a delay from the pedals. So now let's see how the throttle is. So 1, 2, 3. Throttle's about half a second. It's actually a pretty good delay. It's not instantaneously, but it's not slow at all. So here we go, 1, 2, 3. Oh yeah, I like that. 1, 2, 3. If you guys can hear the motor, yeah, that's like half a second, maybe a quarter of a second. That's not bad. So if you really need to take off, I would use the throttle first, then get into the pedals, and then before you hit your max speed of 23 miles an hour, let off the throttle. You have a slight delay from it going from the throttle to the pedals, but then you can get your max speed. That's what I would do personally. I would not use the pedals to start off with this bike because there's too much of a delay. One fun fact to mention about this bike is I've been going through the gears back and forth, right? I don't hear them at all. I don't understand that. Like most of the time you hear the gears like click, 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 click going through. I don't hear a single noise from the back when I shift. Nothing. The only thing I hear is this moving. That is actually impressive. Ooh, the brakes stop really good in the dirt too. You shouldn't have to worry about sliding out too much because these knobbies are definitely holding together. Let's see how it is to go off the curb. Whoa! I don't know if you guys can see that. I don't have a 360 camera or anything like that, but I lifted it up with the suspension and I was actually almost doing a wheelie when I popped off the curb because the front of this bike is actually very light that I didn't think it was gonna be that easy to pop up. I give it a pass on that, so if you guys definitely need to get up curves, which we'll try out in a second, should be no problem for you. And here's a better test of the suspension. Woo! All right, yeah, not too bad. It's like decently stiff, but for my weight, it's perfectly fine at about 165, 170 pounds. I'm not having an issue with the suspension. Normally it's either too hard or it's very soft and you have a lot of sag when you sit on it, but it's perfect for my weight. All right, so let's go up the curb and see how it is. Oh yeah, not a single problem. All right, so I pulled over here because normally I check the range and match them up to see if it's right. But remember when we got on this bike, I think it said we had like 1.6 or 1.9 miles already on the bike before I even started riding it. So I don't know if it's just because it was a production model or what was going on with it. But anyways, this says 6 miles exactly, and this says 7.9. So because the speed is matching pretty well with GPS, it's off like 1 mile per hour. These should match up perfectly fine, but because I had that extra, miles on there and stuff like that, that's why it's kind of off. But this should be pretty damn accurate. Another thing is you can't get any type of voltage reading on here. All you have to do is go off these battery bars, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 5 of them. We're down 1, so we're down to our last 4. So just keep that in mind that it's really hard to pinpoint where the battery's at. You could always take the battery off, get the voltmeter and like hook it up, but who is really gonna do that? Your average consumer that just rides these bikes back and forth to work or just rides them around is not really gonna do that. Anyways, what I like to do in this section, other than what I just talked about, was I like to see how the turning radius is on this bike. I want you guys to know that this should have been routed on this side. Because when I installed these handlebars and the way the bike came, they came from this side and I bolted them up and realized that this should have been coming from this side. But other than that, it turns very well. The thing that's gonna hit the bike the most is gonna be the headlight, so that's what's gonna stop you from turning this bike. But the fact that it can almost turn around in a whole 180 degree, that's perfectly fine to me. Going this way is a little tighter because, like I said, the cable should have routed the other way. So don't do what I do, so I can't really turn it too much this way. But the fact that you can turn it a lot, that's pretty good, especially when you need to mount it up to a bicycle rack or move it around your garage. It's a lot easier than lifting up the bike because the turning radius is so short. And I gotta admit, after being on this bike for about 6 miles, I'm really digging the seat. The seat is actually very comfortable. I am not having a complaint about the seat. Normally I do. I don't know if I have a weird shaped butt or what. I always seem to have an issue when riding bikes with the seats. But this one's nice and comfortable. All right, so here's my major gripe about the bike so far. So I'm using the throttle, right? And I'm about to reach my top speed. Wherever you're at, doesn't matter if you're almost maxed out, or you're at 15 miles an hour, 10 miles an hour. As soon as you switch to the pedals, there's a huge delay. I wish it was like super quick to switch from throttle to pedals, but it's not. So you lose a lot of momentum when going from here to the pedals, and you have to go to the pedals to go fast. And using the pedals to start off with isn't that quick. So I feel like using the throttle all the time to get up to speed is the way to go, but then you have a delay. All right, guys, so I think that's pretty much it for everything we need to do on the bike. Not bad so far. Let me give you my final conclusion in a second when we get back to the house. All right, let's go up the curb and let's do the grass test. It's okay in the grass. Oh, my dogs are going crazy. All right, guys, well, that was actually a fun trip. And again, my hair always gets messed up. I feel like I need to just shave it off again like I used to do. But actually, it's really not bad. Like, I'm not a big supporter of brands. I don't say like, oh, you need to always go to this brand, you need to always go to this brand. Engwe has always came through though with some really cool bikes. Some of them have been a little bit garbage, some of them have been really good. And for the price that this one is for what you get, I want to say it's probably like a 9 out of 10 if you factor in price. Like, that's how much I actually like this bike. But it really depends if you're going to use this rear rack at all either, because this is something that the bike is included with. So if you're really not going to use the rear rack, you probably go with a different bike, maybe save you guys some money and whatnot. But hydraulic brakes is this price range, a half twist throttle. The speed is 30 miles an hour, 2 miles an hour faster than what the website says. Very comfortable. It's not a full suspension bike, but this definitely helped. The seat is very, very wide. I felt very comfortable on this bike the whole entire time. Off-road felt fantastic as well. I did some brake tests as well in the dirt that I didn't really show on camera. I maybe showed 1 or 2, but it actually brakes really good in the dirt. I didn't feel like the bike was gonna wash out or anything like that, so very good on that. The headlight looks great, the brake light looks good. We'll do that in a separate video, so subscribe to the channel if you guys wanna see that. We'll do that shortly after this video goes up. And the fact that my gears felt like they weren't even shifting, like I didn't hear anything going on. They were, because I could feel it in the pedals, but I didn't hear the click, 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 click when it was going. I think it's a very good bike, guys. Like, and what's cool is I don't have the headlight on. I just noticed I don't, so if I turn it on, you guys can see it right now. So I don't have the headlight on, but when you do hit the brakes, this goes off. I just noticed that. So that is super cool. That's a safety feature. Even if it's during the day, that's definitely gonna save you from people hitting you on the road. So I can't say enough positive things about this bike. I guess the only biggest thing I didn't like about it was the fact that going from the throttle to the pedals was not that great. I'm pretty sure there's a setting that you guys are probably gonna tell me after this video's up, but it's gonna be too late, that there's probably something you go in here and change and make it so throttle will go up to 30 miles an hour without even having the pedal. But again, I'm reviewing this bike exactly how it came to me and exactly how it's gonna come to 100% of you guys. If you guys wanna go through the settings and change it, the only thing I like to change is the max top speed, and we were already at the max top speed that this bike is limited to, which was 30, which we saw. Another thing that I might wanna say on this bike is I really wish it was a 20 amp hour battery, because they have so much more room. They could have put the battery a lot longer, because 16 amp hours right now in the world that we live in electric bikes, a lot of bikes are going to 60 amp hours, and most of your traditional e-bikes coming out on the market are all 20 amp hours. So this is kind of on the lower spec, but I will say it makes the bike lighter. So the bike is not that heavy, especially if you're a little weak. You could take the battery out and save a little bit of weight, like I said, and it'd be probably almost close to 70 pounds without the battery in here. But man, I mean, I'm trying to think of a lot more other things to say that's probably bad about the bike, but it's mostly all positive. Like everything about this bike felt great. I always point out the negatives because, you know, you guys want to know if it's worth it or not. And yeah, no, it's great. I don't really know how expensive tires are for this bike, or twos, because I've never got a flat on a 26-inch tall tire bike, but I'm pretty sure they're expensive, so keep that in mind. And again, if you're a short person, you're not gonna fit on this bike, so just keep that in mind as well. You definitely probably wanna be, I would say 5'7" or up to like maybe 6'5". You could probably go up to like 6'7" or 6'8", but just keep in mind, not a short person bike, but it felt great. So I'll see you guys in the next one when I do the night riding footage on this bike. Again, make sure you subscribe and use the links and the discount code down in the description. If there is no discount code, it's probably just gonna be an affiliate link, and it helps me out with the channel, helps me with the partnership with this company. So I'd really appreciate it if you guys use those links before purchasing one of the bikes from Engwe. Even if it's not this one, they have a bunch of other cool bikes on their website. Please use my link, then go buy a bike. It really helps the channel. So I'll see you guys in the next one. You guys are the true MVPs. Later, guys.